Hi everyone, Armoured Pants here, and I have a second video for you in the Chinese TD line. This is the T-34-2G FT. Like the previous tank, a name that just rolls off the tongue. Now, I'm going to have a look at the tech spec, and as always we will have a look at blitzhanger.com. Now I have to say, I do like this tank line, I do like these Chinese TDs. I also think they get better. For example, this Tier 7 I think is better than the Tier 6 before it. Now, first thing is, like the tank before, the view range is not great, so therefore you may want to consider using protective kit. Might be a better option than maximising the view range. It has two gun options, as does the tank before, 100mm and 122mm. 122mm has better DPM, it's going to do 400 plus DP. Its max roll is 500 on your standard AP rounds, which at Tier 7 is a lot of punch, right? So, 122mm gun has 192mm of pen, which is really good. The heat gives you 250mm of pen. By the way, heat is your pramo, and it's going to do about around 340 plus damage points. 61mm pen on the HE, which is really good, and you're going to get 500 plus alpha rolls on that, maybe up to 650, so really good, and that's a lot at Tier 7. Imagine you hit a Tier 6 tank for 650, that's a lot of damage. Muzzle velocity is 800 meters per second, HE is the same as AP, supercharge brings up to 1040 meters per second. Heat, as your pramo, has lower muzzle velocity. It's only 640 meters per second, going up to only 832 meters per second with supercharge. So you need to take note of that, because if you're fighting a heat round after firing AP, it's going to move a lot slower, and therefore you need to adjust accordingly. So please take note of that. That muzzle velocity, particularly if you're sniping and firing over long distances, is going to make a difference, and it's important to take note of that. The different shell types have different behavior. So AP and HE, same muzzle velocity, heat lower, so take note. You'll need to take note of that and adjust accordingly when you're firing. This is a fast and mobile tank. It does 50 kilometers an hour in a straight line, 16 in reverse, so therefore it can get around the map. So like the tank before, you have basically two options. Because of the decent power to weight ratio, which makes it really mobile, you can go and support your mates, or you can play it as a standard TD and snipe from the back. Its excellent reverse speed means that it's also a very good and effective brawler, and you'll see that in the gameplay. Now we're going to have a look at two games. One where I kind of am mobile and go supporting, or go kind of the med route, medium tank route, and the other where I play as a standard tank destroyer. Now concealment is good, but only when still, so take note. So use the mini map when spotting up the enemy rather than moving your tracks to look around. Let your allies do the heavy lifting for you, and you max out your camo numbers. Keep those tracks still, keep in concealment. Now, we will have a look now at the armour profile, and you'll see when we look at this in a bit more detail that the armour profile in this tank is actually better than the previous tank, the Tier 6, which has more or less no armour. When we look here, you'll see this is a little bit more armour at the front, but if you look at the relative armour numbers on the side, they're quite high. They're going up to 420 to 460. That means you can side scrape. And you'll see an example of me side scraping in this tank in the first game that we're going to have a look at. So you take note, I actually make 2 or 3 bounces on this at very close range against the medium tank by side scraping in it. So that is an option, particularly if you get caught by medium or light tanks, if they flank you, which is exactly what happens to me in the game, the first game we're going to have a look at in Port Bay. You can see you've no armour at the back or sides. You're quite vulnerable. You're going to be, and if the big guns like an SU-152, for example, is going to fire HE at you, and he can even single shot you, so you need to be careful. That's why I would also run 2 repair kits. You do not want to get stuck out in the open in this thing. Your tracks are also quite exposed, as you can see. It only has 5 degrees of gun depression, as you can see here, which again, like the previous tank, the Tier 6, it's quite odd, given that the original idea for these tanks was that they would fight in the Chinese mountains. So if you consider them the Swedish tanks that have massive gun elevation, it's kind of weird that these Chinese tanks did not when they're designed to fight in hilly terrain, but that's odd. A design flaw for sure, and maybe explains why they actually didn't go into production. This tank is based on the T-34 chassis, which is why it has this slightly different, which would not in the WZ range like all the other tank destroyers here. Now, in terms of tactics, as I said, you've got basically 2 options. You can play this traditional TD at a 122mm gun. If you snipe with that, it is going to create lots of damage, and it's a very reliable sniping gun. Or you can also, because it's so fast, you can play this supporting meds moving around the map, because you, at 50 kilometers an hour, you can get around the map really well. And because this has a really fast traverse, it's also a decent brawler. And we'll have a look at that in the second game when I play more like a medium tank. But in this game, I'm going to play just as a standard TD. I am going to go up to a sniping position. I actually get sniping tanker medal in this and a Confederate medal. And as we said before, more important than mastery badges when you're playing a TD are sniper tanker, Confederate, and also Top Gun, because you want to do as much damage as possible, and that's basically your goal in the TD, is to farm damage to support your team. And you can see here, I'm going into a typical sniping position. I'm hoping that my medium tanks will spot up the enemy. I am going to use the hard cover here to protect my right side, and I'm going to adopt a traditional tank destroyer position and see if I can farm damage for my team. So there's nothing particularly subtle or sexy about this gameplay. This is just standard TD play. I'm just waiting for my allies to light up the enemy. We have our first customer. There you go, 368 Alpha Roll at the KV-1S. I drop adrenaline. I always drop adrenaline in these positions when I'm sniping, because I want to get as many shots on when I have multiple targets as possible. Now, shot into the T29, nice 468 Alpha Roll, and because my first 3 shots hit, I now have a chance for a maximum roll. And just slow it down, have a look at this, bam, there we go, 500 damage points, maximum roll on the AP round. Nice, brings him down to a 1 shot from my allies. Now, here's my problem. I've been spotted and I've been flanked, and now it's damage limitation for me, so I know I'm gonna die, but I'm going to try to do as much damage as possible before I do that. So you can see here I'm moving, and you can see here, this is what I'm saying about the slightly better armour profile. This is the relative, so the speed of the tank makes that first shot miss, and the relative armour numbers on the angles on the side get me that bounce, 400 bounce on that. But they're behind me and to the sides of me, so I'm going to die. As I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down fighting like the 300 Spartans, and I'm going to take as many of them with me, or I'm going to do as much damage as I can. I'm going to get flanked here, so what I decide to do is I'm going into the side scraping position that I mentioned. So here we are. I'm using this building to protect my side, my back, and I'm going side scraping on here. I'm down to 15 hit points, and I'm going to do 2 bounces. 1, and I put a round into the Rudy, and you know, this is quite important, this side scraping here, because I die. But look at this, I've done 3.4k of damage almost. And this damage that I did, and we're going to have a look at quickly at the end of the game here, but this damage that I did enabled my team to win this game. Because I got the Rudy down, I got the LTTB down. So my, let's say, sacrifice here, I think I was a good team player here. I knew I was going to die, didn't bitch, didn't complain. I just did as much damage as I could, kept my head, side scraped, got some bounces, kept myself in the game, and I was able to do as much damage as I could. You can see there, I did big carry in terms of damage, almost 3.4k damage, and that basically won the game for my team. I died. But, you know, dying and losing is part of the game. The important thing to do in that position when you know you're going to die is to accept it and just do as much damage as you can and get your team to win. And you can see here I got Sniper Tanker badge, I got the Confederate badge, so I damaged over 4 of the enemy team. I got the High Caliber, sorry I think I said Top Gun earlier. High Caliber is the badge that you want to be going for when you're sniper tanking. So you want your Sniper Tanker badge, your Confederate badge, and your High Caliber. If you get those badges regularly in a TD, you are playing a TD correctly. Now we're going to have another game. This is a mastery game on Castilla Supremacy. Now this is a mastery game, but in actuality, it's probably not as good a game from me as the previous game. We lose this game, by the way, and I die as well. And so therefore, I don't think the gameplay was as good in terms of my contribution to the team or my own individual gameplay as the previous game. But nonetheless, it's a mastery badge. But I wanted to show you this game because it shows the agility of this tank. So I was originally going to go up into that sniping position there, but then I saw we only have one fast-moving tank, so I decided because I'm a fast-moving tank as well, I'm going to go and try and support him. I'm running the larger gun here, 122mm, because I was originally intending on sniping in this game. But with 8.5 second reload, you can also move. You can also move as a medium tank and go to medium or light tank channel, which I'm doing here. You, of course, because you have less view range, are going to be spotted by light tanks earlier. But you know, I thought it was important that I, as the only other fast-moving tank, that I need to stop the others flanking, and to try to close that flank off and maybe capture A for my team. I don't know where my light tank ally went, but now we have one base captured, and I'm going to move into a flanking position where hopefully I can farm some damage for my team. And again, you cannot do this with all TDs, but because this is so fast-moving, you can do that. And I got into a good position here, and I'm able to stop this Panzer IV's from farming damage with its really fast-firing gun onto my team. Now he has to engage me, and you can see what I meant about this tank having a bit more armour. I am actually going to bounce a couple of shots off him here. I know it's a lower caliber gun, etc., and he's lower tier, but nonetheless, this is what I meant about this tank being having a better armor profile than its predecessor, which has basically no armor. And we can see here now when I am in this position, protecting the vulnerable lower plate, I get a few bounces. I fluffed a shot on him, but it was okay. I didn't take any more damage because I was able to bounce those two shots. And now we're able to move on. Now we're tank down, so I'm moving as fast as I can to try and get into a position to help my team. I don't really know what the rest of the team were doing. They had the opposition outnumbered at MC, but nonetheless they're dropping like flies. Maybe I made the wrong decision. Maybe if I'd gone to snipe, my original plan was it might have been better. I don't really know. Fluffed a shot on a Stuart Emil, but now I switch up to a position where I'm able to farm some damage here. So standard AP round into the Nashorn to clear him off. I'm spotted, but I think I can still farm some damage now. The Stuart Emil is still facing away from me, so switch up to HG, and we're going to massive roll on him there, 515 roll on him, have him down to a one shot. If I can get another HG round into him, I should be able to one shot him, and yeah, cleared him off. Now the KV-1S is going to engage me, so I switch back to AP for him. Even though he's quite a decent armour profile, my 122mm gun should be able to pen him, and I'm going to be able to clear him off. Now, you're going to have a look here at a kind of a mini brawl coming up against the KV. I fluffed that shot, but I managed to get a bounce. Drive by him, and the KV-1S, by the way, is relatively agile, heavy tank. Pull back, and I get a shot on him, clear him off. Now we are 2v3. Now I make a couple of mistakes here, which is kind of loses me the game. So one is I fluff a shot on the Black Prince, and then the other is I take a massive round off the Jag Panther. Now I fluffed this shot, I rushed it, and I fluffed that shot, and you'll see how this becomes important when we have a look at the when I die, because it's actually the Black Prince that kills me. Now if I hadn't fluffed the first shot, he'd be dead now. And then I would also be able to move around and not take this massive round here from the Jag Panther. So there we go, two mistakes I made in that game. Not retreating fast enough, taking that massive round off the Jag Panther, and fluffing the first shot on the Black Prince. And we can see now, when I come around here, I kill him, but he kills me, game over. Now, also, by the way, I think this is my first or second game in this tank. And I also made I didn't heed my own lesson. And I'd forgotten that the heat round is much slower than the AP round, and that's why I fluffed the shot on the Black Prince. So when I'm talking to you about muzzle velocity, as I did earlier, I'm not just saying it for the sake of it. That is a very clear example. The mistake I made there is a very clear example of me not adjusting for the much significantly lower 400 meters per second, 300 and something meters per second lower muzzle velocity on the heat round compared to the AP round. If I fired AP at that at the Black Prince, I probably would have hit. So that was me not heeding my own lesson. But hopefully you can learn from my mistake and make it a better game. So you can see there's a mastery badge from that because I did 3.4k damage or whatever, capture the base, etc. But I think, as I said, I made some stupid mistakes in that game, particularly at the end. Anyway, hopefully you'll learn from those lessons. So anyway, let's have a quick recap. Let's again have a look at Frau Schwarz, our very cool goth girl who'll help us. This is a fast mobile TD. Has low profile, it's a small target, and has a decent armour profile. Okay, it's not massive armour, but it's decent enough. And you saw in those games there some very nice bounces. When starting off, as with the previous Tank to Tier 6, play safe. Just do typical tank destroyer play, supporting from sniping positions. But later on, you can be a bit more adventurous. There are two gun types. Top gun has a lot more punch, which you'll need, especially if you're up tiered, because you're going to be up against IS-6s, IS-3s, etc., big armor profiles. 122mm gun has a lower muzzle velocity, by the way, but it has much larger alpha rolls. But a muzzle velocity with AP and HE is okay. The reload time is good, it's 8.4 seconds. So that's pretty decent, given that you're going to be doing 400 plus alpha rolls. You saw there max 500 alpha roll on the T29 the first game. I would use supercharge to max out the muzzle velocity, you really need it, and I'd also use refined gun to reduce my dispersion. Has no real gun depression, only 5 degrees, so forget about that as a tactic. You really need to be firing flat on to the reds. Concealment numbers are good when still, but moving tracks breaks camo, so therefore use the mini-map when you're trying to spot up the enemy. Don't be twisting and turning, keep your camo numbers good. The armor is decent, it's not perfect, but it's decent, and you can side scrape and get bounces when moving, as you saw in the first and second game. But you need your team to help, particularly when you're sniping. You need your meds to spot for you, and they also need to give you a bit of cover in case you're flanked. As you saw in the first game, when you're flanked, you're going to die unless somebody comes to help you. On the sides and back, you're going to be HE. Magnet and HE doesn't bounce, and you're going to be up against SU-152 or an ISU-152, a Borsig, etc. if you're up tiered, so just be aware of that. So keep safe. At the start, play from behind your teammates. Don't get too adventurous until you're comfortable with the tank. But when you're experienced, you can support your meds or go to med channel as I did there. You might want to consider using a 100mm gun because it has a better reload and faster rate of fire. But that's up to you. The music is Puccini's magnificent Chinese opera Turandot, and we have two pieces of music. The first being the overture, and the second being Perceta dalla Luna, because the moon is delayed, or because the moon is late. Two beautiful pieces of music from a very, very beautiful opera, which I was actually lucky enough to see in Vienna, the opera house there, many moons ago. So cheers, Mush. Thanks for watching. Vielen Dank, Frau Schwarz, for the help in the recap, and I guess all remains for me to say is pants off.